Hello, how's it going? Good, grand, great, fantastic. And if you're like me, you don't really watch national TV because it's crap. However, thanks to social media, the occasional gem does pop up, and in this instance, we have Henry Cavill versus Graham Norton. So on Graham Norton's show, Henry Cavill was interviewed and then subsequently mocked for his hobby, which is painting Warhammer figures and playing with Warhammer. And playing Warhammer, which is a strategy based tabletop game akin to Dungeons and Dragons. But it's a British thing, and it's a beautiful British institution that we should be celebrating, not mocking people. You know, that's the caveat. Do your research. You should be like, oh, this is actually a British thing, and okay? Let's champion this. Let's get as many ears on this as possible and eyes on this as possible, because everything else is just getting swallowed up by American corporations. You know. Anyway, but we're not here to discuss politics. But what cracks me up is, people like Graham Norton and his generation will mock my generation, and my family does it as well. They're like, "Well, you're a 40-year-old man. Why are you collecting toys?" And I'm like, it's a hobby that never went away. We've had it since we were kids. And when you love something when you're a kid, you don't stop loving it. See, the boomer generation, their love was cigarettes and alcohol. That was their hobby. That's all they did. They didn't do nothing else. And so they grew up with that and they never let it go. And that's why they're all such fucking brain dead toxic wankers who beat their wives and husbands and just general selfish, self-centered shitbags. Like, in all the hobby communities that I've known, that there's just so rare that you see people that are druggies and alcoholics. Why? Because they'd rather spend their money on this stuff than waste it on garbage crap that you get high for a few minutes and then you're left with emptiness. At least when you get these, you've got it until it falls apart and is unplayable or untouchable or unposable. That's the difference. And so I that's why I did this video. It was more to just kind of laugh at the boomer generation of people who were completely hobbyless and just like terrible parents, had nothing in common with their kids, couldn't even connect with their kids on any kind of level, except for those that did have a hobby. This is what makes my dad so fucking great, because he was big into, he used to make model ships because he was poor. So he used to just carve bits of wood out of a tree and make them, and it's the most beautifully designed thing and all that. Now, my brother inherited that skill, so them two shared that hobby together, and it was fantastic to see. I had no interest in that, but I've also kind of been a person that likes to keep to his own space and all this stuff, and so there was none of this, oh, Daddy doing that with them, but nobody cares. I was just like, oh, mask, Star Wars, yeah, I'm happy. But it was great to see, and that's what made my dad so he was very understanding of this hobby, because he loved the hobby, but he couldn't carry it on because there was bills to pay and other priorities kind of set in, and he just didn't have time because he was working. But he always appreciated mine and my brother's hobby. My brother's also kind of just stopped his, but I never stopped mine. I think that I don't really get many pleasures out of life, and this is one of the few pleasures I still have left. That isn't related to food, because I've had to stop that completely, and all this kind of stuff. But anyway, that's it. I don't want to ramble on too much. Just saying, this kind of stuff, Warhammer, these are great hobbies. Drugs and alcohol and rehab are not a good hobby, of which you have been into, Graham. And it's nice to have your mind occupied by something so beautiful, as opposed to just staring out into the wilderness thinking, how can I be a little shit to somebody else and something that they love? Anyway, that is all. Let normality resume.